taunting him pretty much the whole game. It gets to a point, I think, where, Batman and him are struggling, because they have Jason Todd come in as the Arkham Knight and trying to kill Batman, or at least fuck with him. I just thought that storyline was really great, and I just wanted to know if that was ever put into the comics before the game was made that you know of.
I can't give a definitive of my personal attachment to the Cape Crusader, but I do not doubt it. I don't know if it was prior or if they went with that storyline.
Well, I guess
after the fact.
Did Joker ever die in the comics where he entered Batman's subconscious?
That part, I don't think so. But if you really
that
want
was
to
unique
get
to the video game.
Great. Well, there are 3 Jokers, and you don't ever really realize it unless you're into comic books. And one way to figure that out is when Batman sits on the Mobius chair, which is even deeper into comics, and we don't have that much time today. But
just tap into it. We'll get into it another time.
I don't know if we'd have enough time in one episode total.
We could do a part 1, part 2. That's a deep conversation.
Yeah. I mean, we could gist it, but I mean, like deep details. I mean, we could tell someone and explain it a little bit, but there's, I'll just tell you a little bit. Superman, Wonder Woman, and Batman, I believe all get an opportunity to sit in the chair. But Batman learns a few things when he's sitting in it about everything, because the Mobius chair can travel. It's basically what the Watchers sit in. So it's something that you can sit just outside of time and watch everything that's going on, fast forward to the future, go to the past, take stuff out, don't take stuff out, alter it. I mean, it's a whole crazy storyline, but it's also a really good read if you ever get a chance. You can, look it up, or, we'll find it and add it to this podcast as well.
Okay.
But there's quite a bit of stuff that, I mean, either is a complete story feed. I mean, usually video games will take a few liberties, so some of the stuff may have existed, and then they would, go from there. Because
right, they did take where Joker shot Oracle, and
yes.
It was implied that he raped her.
Yes,
it was implied, and it was crazy because that was in the comics, and then they put it into the video game, and it was just one of those.
In the video game, it was implied, but in the comics, that's what happened.
Okay, I know in the show Gotham, they went a weird route and had Jeremiah, the Joker character, or I guess it's either Jeremiah or his twin brother, not sure which, but he shot Selena Kyle, and and that was like the season finale of that one, and we're all like, is she going to turn into the Oracle now? Like they just took that from there, switched it, but then when they came back, what was it, what's the doctor in Batman? He fixed her, so she walked again just perfectly fine, blah blah blah. So it was kind of like a pointless steal of that storyline.
Well, Selena's Catwoman, isn't she?
Yes.
In that show?
Yes.
I know that show took a few liberties on a few characters.
Very.
So I just wanted to make sure that they
just
kind
take
of
few
went that
liberties.
way. Yeah, because Oracle was Barbara.
Mm-hmm.
Barbara Gordon. Which is
and they had
Commissioner
Barbara
Gordon's
Keene,
daughter.
and so the daughter wasn't born yet.
Okay.
Because
Bruce Wayne is a young kid in that show.
Yep, so is Selena, and so was Ivy, but they really, I think they fucked her story, because they had a character, she was young, a kid, and then the next season she got into some stuff and she grew up maybe 5-7 years, so she was then a teenager, and then like she got into more shit and she turned into like a 22-year-old person. And it was like, so, you know, Selena and Bruce like come up on her and they're like, well, we don't know who the hell you are, you know. She's like, well, I'm Ivy, you know, blah blah blah. And it's, I don't know if that was in the comics where they did it a jump like that, but I wish they wouldn't have in Gotham.
And that's the thing with shows and movies. You got to take them grain of salt, because the book and the comic and the novel, they're always going to be different to a degree. A lot of times with shows, if the ratings go down, they got to do something, you know. So
I think that's why they cut Gotham short. They ended it this season, and even the last episode, the girl that plays Selena Kyle, spoiler alert, shit.
Mm-hmm.
The last episode, they had another actress play her as an older person. So she was in every episode of the show, and the last episode, she was played by a different character.
Kind of like Roseanne, where they changed the daughter twice.
Yes, and then they came back with the Connors, and then she was
and the son,
the surrogate of her, and they met each other. They're like, you look familiar.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, will you be the surrogate of my daughter?
A lot of people don't realize that they changed the son. I believe it was after the first episode. That's when it was a different son. But that first episode, yeah.
Well, that's like Donna's sister in that 70s show.
It was an off-screen thing. Yeah.
I do like how in Raising Hope, the cousin that was living in a tent in the laundry room, it was only in the first episode. And then the second episode is like, oh, yeah, he joined a cult. And then, like, season 2 or 3 came, and he came back into the show, and he was in a, what's those relationships where you have multiple wives? But he was a brother-husband, and there was, like, 4 dudes in this chick.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And it was funny. None of the dudes liked him. Yeah, none of the dudes liked him. It was great. It was good that they brought him back, because, you know, we always wondered. And I can get into how New Girl switched coach and then brought him back 2 seasons later. Who's
I've only seen a few episodes of New Girl, so I can't.
Yeah, the Wayne's brother's son, or one of the Wayne's kids. He was coach.
Mm-hmm. Damon Jr.
Yeah, he's actually really funny, and New Girl's actually a really good show. I did like how they did a crossover with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and
a few episodes that I watched were really good.
Commandeer her car, and she's in New York or some shit. It's great. That's TV shows. That's stuff. Don't have a whole lot of time left, but it's fun how we get into tangents and we just kind of go off on what we're talking about. And sorry, keep going.
I was just gonna say, and if anyone is listening in and has any questions or any questions for the next podcast, or a topic they want us to touch on, or anything they want us to clarify, or any sources that they would like us to cite on any info, just feel free to write us or let us
go
know.
Onto our Facebook page.
There you go.
So are you excited for the new season of Stranger Things?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my upside down on, man.
I have a poster in my room, and I have a black light underneath it, and it literally illuminates it like right. It's the 4 kids on their bike, and they're like next to the "Welcome to Hawkins" sign on the road. There's just this giant storm coming in. It's a really cool poster.
I have a 3D figurine, and you put it together or whatever, so it's it's not one piece.
Like a 3D puzzle.
No, it's more made out of like that vinyl material Funko Pops are made out of.
Oh, okay.
But it's 11 being held against that chalkboard by the Gormagon. It's really cool looking, but it's cartoony, because it's like a Funko Poppy, but it's
right.
It's like the scene that set it, to walk into the next one, and the fact that at the end of spoiler alert, the end of the second season, you hear 11 call out. It's like, ooh, come on.
Did you happen to
Keep 'em
see
coming.
the new movie that she was in? Or know what that movie is? I think she's in Godzilla. Yeah, the new
Yes.
Godzilla. Yes, she's in the new Godzilla.
Yeah.
Which
The
should be
daughter
pretty
of
good.
the doctor, I believe.
That
Or
should
something
be
like
pretty
that.
good.
I can't remember who she is.
They keep
Yeah.
bringing back Godzilla though.
Well, I mean, in their defense, he's the good guy.
Oh,
I
true.
mean, they kind of need him. Get rid of Mothra and, I don't know, whatever Japanese scientist created Godzilla 2000 robot. I mean, he needs a minute. Go sit down. Get in a corner. Why would you make that? What are you
Godzilla
doing?
just reminds me of the the enemies that were in Power Rangers, the originals. Just kind of how the original Godzillas were shot and for the movie and stuff.
Well,
was kind of the same thing that Power Rangers was doing.
have you seen Ready Player One?
Yes, I have.
Have you read the book?
No.
The whole time I watched that movie, I made everybody else mad because I just kept going, wrong, not in the book. What are you doing? Really close, but totally wrong.
So you think it could have been better?
At the end, God, spoiler alert. This should be called the tangent spoiler episode. At the end, all the robots were wrong. All the big creatures, all the mechs, all that stuff. They made them all wrong. The wrong people had the wrong things, and the right people had the wrong things. It's very upsetting. I mean, read the book. It's amazing. If you can do the audio book, I love that because the voices of the characters are all different. It builds an image in your head. And,
I just canceled my Audible account, so
I got mine, man. I am almost
Audible
200
up.
books deep. It's amazing. And we don't have the rights to any of this stuff, so don't get mad at us for
that'll
name
be a
dropping any
disclaimer.
products or anything, but yeah.
We're going to talk about
we
shit.
love these things, and that's all we got.
If you
we're
present
just
this
here
shit
to
to us,
ramble.
we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, if
it's
I
out in
own
the
it,
world,
I'm going to mention it.
right? If it's out in the world, we're going to talk about it, whether you like it or not.
If I can breathe it or eat it, I mean, just wait for the food episode. You know there's going to be one.
Yes,
It's going to be
there-
amazing.
Yes, there is. Well, everybody that's watching, we hope you enjoyed the inaugural episode of The Tangent on Riff Radio,
Yes, thank you.
the
Thanks for
realm
jamming
of
with us.
infinite frequencies. And if you enjoy what you heard, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss anything that's on The Tangent. And also, Jester D. Wild One.
Like it
will
and
be-
follow us on Facebook.
Yeah, follow us on Facebook when we get it all set up. I'm working on logos and all that stuff right now, so it's very ground level of this podcast. I will be having a wrestling podcast for those wrestling fans out there called the Double SW, Start Static Wrestling Podcast. I will be covering the AEW rise to wrestling and such. So if you like it, go on to the Riff page and click the wrestling one.
Yep.
Okay,
We'll link them. You'll find them.
they'll definitely be on there. Now the Riff is just the basis for both these podcasts. The one that me and Lord B have, and then the separate one that I'm going to do for wrestling. So, I hope you guys enjoyed. Lord B, you got anything else to say?
Mm-hmm. No, not at the moment. Thanks for coming. We'll love to have you next time.
We'll try to get a weekly or bi-weekly date going so that we know exactly when we're going to be doing this and when you guys can tune in live. We will end up having a live account or a live broadcast. This is obviously recorded. I guess not obviously, but you're going to be listening to it post-haste because you're obviously not clicking it live. So
We have no presumptions, assumptions, or premeditated thoughts about editing our content. So
no, this is uncensored, unscripted,
you're
raw.
You're getting raw.
All right. Well, thank you for listening to the podcast, and I hope you have an amazing day.